Good afternoon, friends. First of all, thanks to Dr. Shailendra ji for giving me this opportunity to interact with delegates and Facebook friends through this webinar. Since the theme of this online seminar is focused on the basic concept of zoology and environment, I have prepared presentation targeting the students. They will definitely ameliorate their knowledge and understanding of molecular biology and its inevitable role in development of drugs and vaccination. So let me start my presentation. Find here some of the major discoveries and inventions of molecular biology that lay down the foundation of modern sciences or applied sciences, including microbiology, biotechnology, bioinformatics, and pharmaceutical sciences that help to design, develop, and manufacture the drugs and vaccines for well-being of human. So these are some major events that occurred in the history of molecular biology. In 1869, we know that Friedrich Miescher discovered the DNA. Hello, 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 hello. Then in 1909, Emil Hermann Fischer wins Nobel Prize for the relationship that proteins are made up of amino acids, and these amino acids are linked by peptide bond. Then in 1911, T.H. Morgan discovered genes on the chromosomes that are the discrete unit of heredity. In 1911, the same year, Theodor Lerin discovered the structure of RNA. नहीं चालू आहे ना रे बाबा कंटिन्यू आहे ना ब्रॉडकास्टिंग
तुम्ही त्याच्या थ्रू लाईव्ह आहे हो
म्हणजे हे बंद करू का
हां तुम्ही त्याच्या थ्रू लाईव्ह आहे
बरं. इथं तो तर म्हणत होता.
हे पण अशी लाईव्ह झाली
In 1909, Emil Hermann In 1941, George Beadle and Edward Trotton identified that genes make the protein. Then subsequently in 1950, Edward Chargaff find that cytosine complements guanine and adenine complements thymine. These are the nitrogen bases found on the complementary strands of DNA. We know everyone this fact. In 1952, Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase make genes from the DNA. Then in 1952 or in between 1953, J.D. Watson and F.C. Crick reduced the double helical structure of DNA. That is the major landmark of molecular biology. In 1958, F.C. Crick for the first time proposed the central dogma of molecular biology. We know that up to 1970, the central dogma is like that DNA transcribed to form RNA and RNA translate to form protein. This is the one-way transfer of genetic information from double-stranded DNA to single-stranded RNA and from RNA to a definite sequence of amino acids in a specific protein formation. DNA transcribed to form RNA on the basis of the enzyme DNA-dependent RNA polymerase. There is another additional process in the central dogma that DNA can replicate itself and form its own copies by DNA replication. This requires the enzyme DNA-dependent DNA polymerase. Later on in 1970, this central dogma is modified due to the discovery of reverse transcriptase enzyme. It is also known as RNA-dependent DNA polymerase. And hence, Epstein modified this central dogma in 1970 again due to the discovery of Harvard Temin and David Baltimore, who isolated reverse transcriptase. And hence, this information from RNA can be transferred to double-stranded DNA using this RNA-dependent DNA polymerase. Then in 1978, the trio, Arbor, Nathan and Smith, made important discovery related to the restriction enzymes. We know that the restriction enzymes are molecular scissors that they cut DNA at specific site. Then later on in 1985, Caramelis invented the process known as polymerase chain reaction. And since the pandemic of this COVID-19, we are every day hearing the news regarding the coronavirus presence is detected by two important tests. One is rapid test and other is RT-PCR. So this RT-PCR is the polymerase chain reaction using reverse transcriptase enzyme. Then in 1986, Leroy Hood developed automated sequencing machine for a gene. Then in 1995, John Craig Venter, for the first time, sequenced the genome of a bacteria. Then there was a consortium of scientists and institutions all over the world who initiated the efforts for mapping the human genome. And in April 2003, the Human Genome Project was completed. Uh, every student of biochemistry, biology, or microbiology, or biotechnology, or basic life sciences know the structure of chromosome, how DNA is coiled and supercoiled to form a metaphase chromosome. We know that metaphase chromosome has the dimensions of about 1400 nanometer. It includes condensed scaffold associated with chromatin having 700 nanometer space. Then when we lose that scaffold, we have a 300 nanometer fiber. When we lose further that fiber, we can have 30 nanometer chromatin fiber having nucleosomes at definite space. When we make a splash preparation of a cell, when it was in interphase, we can have bits on string configuration under microscope, electron microscope specifically. It has 11 nanometer fiber. Then on the nucleosome, there are about 2.5 tons of a double helical strand of DNA. Each DNA has a diameter of 2 nanometer. It may be variable in various forms. It may be A form, B form, or Z form. Then there is a basic concept of DNA replication. We know that every living cell undergoes cell division. The cell division has the phases like G1, S, G2, and M phase. During the S phase, means synthetic phase, the DNA replication takes place, in which DNA can replicate by splitting and rebuilding each strand. The rebuilding of each strand uses slightly different mechanism due to the 5' 3' asymmetry. At the end, each daughter strand is an exact replica of the original strand. So we may call it as a semi-conservative method of replication. This is the fork shape diagram showing the template strands and two newly synthesizing strands. One is leading strand, another is lagging strand because of the specificity of that DNA polymerase. The strand having Okazaki fragments is the lagging strand, and one having the continuous synthesis of newly synthesizing strand is leading strand. At the end, we will get, or a cell get, exact two replicas of a single parental DNA. Then there was a major landmark, another major landmark developed by the Jacob and Monod in 1965. They shown that genes can be switched on and off according to the use of the cell. The cell requires specific protein. When that cell requires specific proteins, the genes responsible for synthesis of that protein are switched on. Otherwise, they are in switch off state. This is the concept of lac operon. In lac operon, there is a group of genes, and the genes transcribe and translate so that a specific metabolite can be utilized if it is present in the medium. This consortium of a gene or orchestra of a gene consists of regulatory gene, then operator gene, then promoter gene, and structural genes. The genes, if they have to switch on, it requires DNA polymerase, and there is a repressor molecule. It is the transcribed and translated product of a regulator gene. They shown that if the bacterial culture maintained on the medium is having lactose, it acts as an inducer. So there is a complex between a repressor and inducer, leaving the space for RNA polymerase to attach at operator region. Hence, it's switch on the structural genes LAC-Z, LAC-Y, and LAC-A, which transcribe to form a polycistronic mRNA. And further, this polycistronic mRNA is translated to form proteins or specific three types of enzymes: lac permease, transacetylase, and beta galactosidase. These enzymes allow the entry of lactose in the cell and then oxidizes it and then further digest it for the production of energy that is to be utilized by the cell. As I previously said, the molecular biology lay down the foundation of many advanced sciences, including biotechnology, bioinformatics, and pharmaceutical sciences. So this picturizes the sum of the applications of molecular biology, uh, its involvement into Human Genome Project, then finding the new paths for developing the drugs, then discovering new methods for diagnosis of diseases. It has many diverse functions. Recent development of molecular biology leads to formation of a special stream known as bioinformatics that deals with the study of proteins and genomes. The proteomics is the large-scale study of proteomes. A proteome is a set of protein produced in the organism, system, or biological context. Here I have given an example of the protein present in chick egg. The white of egg is ovalbumin. It can be processed to gel electrophoresis using SDS. Then we can process each subunit into mass spectrometry, and using different online techniques, PDB formats, we can develop a 3D model of a specific protein. So based on these models of proteins, there is a protein data bank, a central repository developed by RCSB. Then further, it has another domain studying the genomics that uses a combination of recombinant DNA sequencing methods to sequence, assemble, and analyze the structure and function of genome. So there are lots of programming for study of a specific gene, genome, and genomics. It developed nice assembly of genomes, and the credit goes to NCBI, the branch of NIH in USA, that developed a gene bank for thousands and millions of species we know on the earth. Now I am focusing on the role of molecular biology in study of the coronaviruses and its vaccination. We know that coronaviruses are a group of related RNA viruses that cause diseases in mammals and birds. In humans, these viruses cause respiratory tract infection that can range from mild to lethal. Human coronaviruses were discovered in 1960s. The coronavirus which we encountered from December 2019 is a mutated version known as SARS-CoV-2. There are 4 human coronaviruses that produce symptoms which are very mild, or generally they are mild. Human coronaviruses, OC43 strain, then HKU1 strain, then 229E strain, then NL63 strain. There are another 3 human coronaviruses that produce potentially severe symptoms and may not, definitely cause the death if they are not properly treated. That are MERS-CoV, then SARS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2. We can have details of the structure of coronavirus. The viral envelope consists of a lipid bilayer in which there are 3 types of proteins: the membrane protein, then spike proteins, and structural proteins in overall structure of the coronavirus. There are 74 spike proteins. Inside the envelope, there is a nucleocapsid which is formed from multiple copies of nucleocapsid protein which are bound to the positive sense single-stranded RNA genome in a continuous beads on a string type configuration. The genome size for coronavirus ranges from 26.4 to 31.7 kilobase, and it is one of the largest among RNA viruses. What happens when the coronavirus infects the cell? This diagram is mainly designed to understand the infection of a coronavirus in lung tissue. We know that the surface of lungs or heart or kidneys have ACE enzyme 2 receptor. These receptors bind with the spike proteins of the coronavirus. Then these particles enter inside the cell by the process known as endocytosis. Inside the cell, its viral genome, that is RNA strand, is separated, and using RNA dependent RNA polymerase, this viral RNA is processed for making its own copies. Further, this viral RNA is translated to form viral proteins. Then these viral proteins and viral RNA assembled to form nascent viruses. And by the process of exocytosis, these nascent viruses are expelled out of the cell. They come through the respiratory tract, and by sneezing or coughing or by spitting, these viruses are thrown outside. So one should use the proper mask, and one should avoid such bad habits of spitting everywhere and use the mask N95 that is designed for a specific purpose. So far, there are various approaches for development of vaccine for this coronavirus. There may be one approach like using live attenuated viruses or whole interactive inactive virus, or it may be use of viral RNA, or using reverse transcriptase. This RNA can be converted into double-stranded DNA, or we can isolate the spike proteins and to form recombinant subunits, or there can be recombinant viral vectors. So there are 6 ways that can be used for development of vaccine against corona. As per the CEO of Polyculture Consulting Group, Dr. Mahesh Kulkarni, there are about 94 candidates for vaccine development, out of which 5 are under the clinical trial phase 1 and only 3 are under the clinical trial phase 2. We know that every drug or vaccine has to go preclinical trials and then clinical trials of phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. There are vaccine types and they are discriminated as non-replicating viral vectors, DNA vaccine or inactivated vaccine, or RNA vaccine or protein subunit vaccine or live attenuated virus vaccine or replicated viral vector. Using replicating viral vector, we can prepare vaccine or virus-like particle without viral RNA or DNA vaccine, or there are some other unknown entities involved in vaccine development. Their number is 3. So altogether there are 94 candidates, out of which 5 are under clinical trial phase 1 and only 3 are under the clinical trial phase 2. We can understand the working principle of RNA vaccine from this slide. Previously, we seen the structure of RNA virus, the specific coronavirus. It has a spikes on the envelope and a beads on the string configuration RNA. We can isolate the mRNA 1273 from this coronavirus. This mRNA is specific for synthesis of spike protein. So the vaccine containing mRNA 1273 or 1273 is injected to the volunteer, which acts as a host. This mRNA will produce SARS-CoV-2 specific proteins by translation. Then the host body is sensitized due to presence of these antigens. and in turn the body prepares specific antibodies for spike proteins or antigens present on the coronavirus. When such person is vaccinated, it has a boosted immunity against the SARS-CoV-2. So this is the simple diagram I have prepared to understand the working principle of RNA vaccine. There are certain strategies for vaccine development. Developing a vaccine requires growing large amounts of virus, often in animals or in tissue culture at large scale. The viruses are inactivated by radiation, heat, or chemical, or are derived from genetically weakened strains. In Maharashtra, National Institute of Virology is there in Pune. It is destined to develop these coronaviruses that are to be handed over to Bharat Biotech, which, which is having collaboration with ICMR. There is another alternative is to purify not the complete virus but isolated viral proteins like spike. This is safer and easier to scale up. But the immune system response to the isolated protein is often not as robust as it is to organized lattice of the intact virus particle. A more recent strategy involves injecting individuals with RNA or DNA encoding for viral proteins. These nucleic acids can be administered alone or through man-made vectors that help to deliver material into body. There are certain advantages of RNA vaccine. RNA vaccines are offering or they will offer several advantages over conventional vaccines, particularly when responding to pandemic threats, the situation through which we are passing now. While conventional vaccines develop with an attenuated or inactivated disease-causing pathogen or using proteins made by pathogen, which acts as antigen, they require long protection time and have limited production capacity. There is another major advantage of RNA vaccine is that RNA can be produced rapidly and cheaply in the laboratory, offering the potential to scale up production to meet the demands of a pandemic. Other advantages include enhanced immunogenicity and better safety profile compared to classical and other types of vaccines as they have been proven in clinical trials. Now there is a news from last month that Moderna is in clinical stage is a clinical stage laboratory company pioneering in preparing the RNA vaccine. It uses mRNA therapeutics and creates vaccines for a new generation of transformative medicine for patients. Uh, Phase 1 study led by National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, a part of NIH, showing positive results. There are another companies which are making success or advancing for development of vaccine against the coronavirus. These are Moderna, BioNTech, Stemira, Imperial College London, the RNA immunogen therapies, then Centro National, it's Germany, then Queric AG, then Fudan University, then Architects Therapeutics, then Daiichi Sankyo, then BioCAD, then Jeepus Therapeutics. These are various companies or institutions or research laboratories dedicated for the development of vaccines for COVID-19. on 22nd May, the Hindu published the news that about 88% of success have been obtained by Oxford vaccine trials, which has a collaboration with our Serum Institute in Pune. They are saying that by the end of September they can have a safe and effective vaccine against corona. In continuation of this, I would like to add that there are about 110 positive projects in the work to find a workable cure for SARS-CoV-19. Some have reached the clinical trial stage, others have shown a little less than favorable results. Even one had one. Everyone has one question: when will we have a vaccine ready for COVID-19? Leading researchers are still saying that it can be another 14 or 18 months before the world gets access to vaccine. The same is the case with Indian vaccine. As experts say, it is still in the nascent stage and it will take a while before we see conclusive development. Because the vaccine requires lots of crucial studies, phases of trials to test its potential side effects, its safety, its feasibility, and its cost. So, wait for the vaccine to be marketed at affordable price, and every country on this globe can save the human life. Until the development of vaccine, what we can do? We can start living with the coronavirus. Stay at home until the lockdown 4 is over, or after the lockdown is further extended or may not be extended. Take care. Thanks a lot. You may have interactions or you may have suggestions. You can send me on my Facebook page, or otherwise you can comment now. Dr. Shailendra. Thank you.